What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Tune-Up, a Shopmonkey podcast where we talk about the automotive industry and car care, specifically that 99% of a car's life spent outside of the dealership. In this episode, we are going to discuss creative investments and events for auto shops. Interesting topic here. My name is Zach, and alongside of the rest of the Shopmonkey colleagues here today, we make up your Tune-Up crew. All the various perspectives, passions, and insights into the automotive industry. I'm going to take a quick second and introduce everybody. In first place, we have Mike Corvette Bordeaux. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Happy to be here.
Already, that's my favorite nickname. Next is John F-Type Moretti.
Hello, boys.
All right. Lucas F-150 Conyer.
What's up, everyone?
Getting puzzled by this one. Last but not least, we have Gallagher DB9 Wilson.
How's it going?
F-Type F-150.
You threw me off with the DB9. That one's that's out in left field.
Okay. And Zach, as always, we have yourself hosting us today, right? We have Zach Evora Buffum.
Well, it's the F-150 that's messing me up.
I was kind of hoping that the F-150 would be the dead giveaway.
Is it fastest production vehicles from the F-150 Lightning is technically probably faster than any other car they make?
No, I think it is. But no, that's not that's not the theme. But good guess.
Cars that have been
Best
jumped
vehicles for towing a boat.
What are you towing with a Corvette?
Anything he wants, dude. If Mike had a Corvette, he would do everything with it. He'd be like, groceries, I'm just hopping in the vet. Got to take the boat down to the water. Corvette's coming with me.
Like it, man. Get the DB9 the same, dude. I'm going to throw a boat on that bad boy.
Purposely waiting for like, your kid's got to go to school. Mike's like, wait. 1 minute before class, get in the car.
Dude, Lucas, you're going to have to help me out, man. I'm not following.
No guesses. No final guesses. No? All right. Motor Trend called this their 15 or part of their 15 automotive aluminum warriors. All those cars mentioned have an aluminum chassis or body associated with it. Starting with the Corvette C7, the F-150 back in, 2014, 2015 when they moved to the entire aluminum body. A lot of interesting cars on that list. I was kind of shocked. I didn't know the Corvette turned aluminum. I think it was a C7 chassis that went aluminum. And then the DB9. And I think there was a few more. But yeah,
I could have sat here for a
cool little bunch.
100 years and I would not have put that
together.
Dude, yeah.
You know what it might
This used to be a fun game, and now Lucas is like, watch, I'm going to make these guys look dumb on camera.
Well, I thought we'd be on the same page with the F-150, aluminum. Anyway, aluminum body vehicles.
I really thought you were going to say it's like Motor Trend's dream garage for some year, and I'm like, in what world would we have guessed that? Actually, in the summer 2022,
You're telling me you don't read all their blog posts and articles?
Can I be an old man for a minute? Have you guys ever tried to find an article on something and you just get 32 video results? Dude. It's like, I understand that there's 12 kids talking about this topic, but I would love to just read an article on the back of this. I'm at the airport. I can't watch a video right now.
What could be fun is going back to like Car and Driver articles from like the early 2000s. They have posted those up. So when you type in like an early 2000s like Japanese car, like you'll get the article from when like a Civic came out or something.
Those are fun. Mm-hmm. Those are fun.
Yeah. I definitely have 4 or 5 moving boxes worth of Car and Driver magazines back in my parents' house. Nice. Those are stored away somewhere. Hopefully not thrown out. But yeah, we had a subscription for a while.
Yeah, I feel like the era of cars that I love, the late 90s, early 2000s, are the perfect ones because they're a little too old that no one's making a lot of video content that ranks well anymore. So you do find the old articles like reading about Mark V GTIs. You're like 1,000 Mark VI videos, but there's no good videos. There are good videos if you keep looking.
Speaking of videos, did you see like the commercials from when the Golf was coming out? Like that's something we got to post up if we can. Like the like, what is it? Feed the Angry or Feed the Fast. It was the Fast.
Feed the Fast. Yeah. And then didn't they have like an anniversary? What was it?
Zach's like, I don't know anything you're talking about.
They had like a collectible. It wasn't a toy. Was it a shift knob? Not the shift knob. It was like the black little.
Yeah, it was like a little demon, like a little fast demon.
Oh yeah, it looked like a little.
It's like telling you like you want to go for a drive.
I remember that.
You gotta go. Yeah. I love
Zach and Gallagher are like, these guys are talking about European cars again. How do we stop this? How do we get out of here? We're stuck.
Well, and then last one, they had the rabbit commercial with the rabbits multiplying and all, because they had the Golf Rabbit for a while back in like 06. That was also the Mark V, the Mark V Gen, and that was their year of very creative advertisements. Really, really interesting ones.
So real quick, I think the giveaway for the hot take not the hot take. I think the giveaway for the vehicle might have been like a DMC, like. Those are all aluminum, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at like modern aluminum, but yes, I should have thrown something in there. Like a Tesla.
No, we don't know anything about modern cars, Lucas.
Like, you're blowing my mind. F-150s are aluminum now? That's crazy.
Crazy.
Main topic here. Whether you're a new shop just starting out or someone who's been in business a long time, it's never too early to think about how you can stand out from the competition. What's going to make you unique? What's really going to hit your customers from a different angle that's going to have you rise to the top? Because there's so many shops out there, there's so much advertising, there's a lot of noise. What makes you stand out? So we want to talk about what are some creative investments or events or ideas that can help differentiate a shop, maybe coming up with different partnerships or different things to offer. Anything that you guys have experienced that was maybe unique at a shop, taking your cars to, or something that you've worked in?
Air conditioning. Yeah, I think that's.
You say it as a joke, but it's also true.
Zach's going through what the guys in the shop are going through right now, man. I mean, it gets hot out there. So if a shop offers air conditioning, you have a good chance at luring in some prospective talent. Very
spot on to Zach's situation and very accurate in general.
Well, yeah, we say it a little bit as a joke, but also if you make your shop inviting for customers, they will more likely to come back or come in, or recommend you to someone. If I go to a shop and I'm like sweating the whole time and just like standing in a dirt parking lot, it's like, all right, I mean, I'm glad I got my whatever service I needed done, but I probably won't be pumped about going back or telling someone I know to go there. But if it's like even a local shop, if it has a small, nice, place to sit, it's cool. Maybe there's water, right? I do see a lot of shops that don't think about that part. Like you're inviting someone into your business, you're presenting yourself as an expert in the field and you're asking them to pay you for your services. If you went to a lawyer and they were like, yeah, just come to my backyard and hang out. And you'd be like, nah, I don't think I want to pay this guy. I don't think this is professional or not someone I want to work with. And I think just because we're in an industry that is hot and dirty and, takes up a lot of space, we can't forget that part of the business transaction of interacting with customers, which is you have to present yourself as a professional, and of a high quality bar with every part of the interaction, not just the work you do, which is probably great, but also the building you're in and the space for your customers to sit and how you communicate. Those are all important.
That's interesting. So it sounds you almost hearing like kind of from the little suggestions and some of the things I'm thinking of right now, kind of three main areas to really investigate in. One, because you're going to have customers that either drop off and leave or stay. Mm-hmm. And then, so how can you help those folks who are dropping off and leaving, whether it be with different car services, whether it be even local Uber, Lyft drivers, things like that, ways that you can come up with really good partnerships. Maybe if they're staying, kind of what you're mentioning, Moretti, just about, is there a place that if someone's trying to do work that they can do work, coffee or something like that? I know that goes a long way with me. And then what about stuff, we even joking about the AEC stuff to help retain talent or attract more talent to your shop? So to me, those were the three buckets that kind of stood out of places for us to explore.
Yeah. I'll also just throw in there, I know we had events for a little bit, but like what I've seen locally in a couple towns by us is like they'll do a car show, a morning car show, kind of following like Cars and Coffee, but on a smaller scale locally within their community. At least for us, like Cars and Coffee is 35, 40 minutes away, like the bigger one that everyone goes to. Why not host something a little smaller, nearby if you wanted to just connect with your local community? Pretty cool idea. I've seen it done locally, and they always have a really great turnout. A mix of different vehicles and folks who just moved into the area. So that's always interesting, and they do a great job. They're only out there for a couple hours, and I don't know what the numbers are on it in terms of bringing in new business, but it's a cool way to engage with the community.
Yeah, and then I think if you got creative about that too, right? Like we didn't have car shows, but we had, a couple people would get together. I worked at a performance-based shop, so a lot of our customers and a lot of their friends had performance vehicles. So there's that concept of the car show style like that. But if we're getting creative, right, not every shop is a performance shop, but if you're a neighborhood shop that's just doing service, brakes, oil changes, general repair, tires, things like that, how can you get together with your community? Maybe it's like, hey, we're doing a minivan day. What is the best family vehicle? You hit your customers up. What do you guys think is the best part of your family vehicles, and get everyone together to talk about that, right? You don't have to do race cars. It could be like, yeah, man, I would love to talk about race cars every day, but as a car enthusiast, a lot of my conversations to my non-enthusiast friends are like, what car should we get for our family? What car should we get for, moving stuff? And so I think you can have great meetups and maybe look at things like, if you, again, in the vein of creativity, right? What would a meetup look like if it wasn't focused on speed? And you could have a really good conversation. And there's also opportunities, I bet, for partnerships in those types of setups. So who's your biggest wheel vendor? Who's your biggest tire vendor? Maybe they would bring some samples out and bring a rep to talk to customers about why this tire is safer in the winter and why they should have a set of winter tires, right? There's a lot of cool ideas of ways you could get groups together that then, that gets word of mouth out and keeps your cost down, right? It doesn't cost you anything to open the shop, bring in a rep from one of your distributors and teach people about winter tires, or something like that.
We did something similar in my first shop that was, we would host an occasional class, right? Like a basic maintenance class. And I've seen this done in other shops, so no claims that that's unique, but I think it's a really good way to get customer involvement, get customers engaged, do some education. It builds value around what you're doing. I think we had a tech who would kind of go through, show people what an oil change looked like on the Lyft, and then also do a little bit of talking about like the value of preventive maintenance, checking tire pressure, just very basic stuff. But anything like that, I think grows the reputation in the community, right? That you're wherever you're working out of, wherever your shop is, where it's not just, hey, I'm here to take money from you, but no, I really want to educate you to how to do the best with this investment you have in this vehicle. And I think that's, similar to what you're saying there, Jonathan. That's something I've seen that worked really well. We had great turnout to that.
I wonder if you could partner with like a school, right? And it's like teaching kids, here are the things to look for to know your car's in trouble, right? Like if you see these fluids, this is what that means. If your car is doing this, this is often what that means. And it's not a get at it. Everyone that's worked in a shop knows we have to be careful because it's like you get that call every day. Well, could you just tell me what this means? And you're like, well, we got to look at it to truly diagnose it. We don't just say what it is over the phone. But if you could be a little creative with those types of, okay, well, I don't want to teach people this is the answer anytime you see this, but young kids, first time drivers, probably a lot of them don't even know what the warning signs are of a car that's overheating or what it might feel or sound like to have a tire that's about to go, or how to check your treads in the morning to make sure you're not, I've had friends, again, it's like the non-car people in my life, I'm going to their house for a hangout session and I'm walking up the driveway and I see just corded tires and I'm like, hey, what is happening here? And it's just, we don't get taught that stuff, so a lot of
Anybody else do that in a parking lot? You just like go by and see like every tire in the parking lot. Like, oh man, those are
so sorry, sir, to interrupt you. I know you're just getting your groceries, but I'm concerned for your safety. A lot of us though, I mean, I didn't have anyone in my life that taught me about cars. I had to like learn all that stuff the hard way. And gosh, it would have been helpful if just a couple of pointers would have kept me from some terrible, terrible days.
I think it's one of my favorite ways to engage. Like, I think that's a fantastic way, is just like community outreach, teaching people and giving them a stage to ask questions, where Moretti made a great point. Like usually if you're coming in the shop, I'm trying to avoid asking vague or answering vague questions because I don't want to punch you in the wrong direction. But if you're coming
Yeah.
in the shop just kind of asking general maintenance questions, trying to understand your car, if my team's just kind of hanging out, maybe we have a cookout or something going to kind of bring everybody into one space, then you just have a more laid back atmosphere to where like the team feels more comfortable just kind of carrying a conversation about that sort of thing, educating the customer. And then internally, I think you get a lot out of this. Like you give your team some visibility to where your customers are coming from, like why they maybe come in with the problems they come in or the questions they ask. Like it's very easy to be cynical towards your customer and like the reason they're coming in. So if you can kind of see like their perspective in person, I think that helps. And then maybe even like an opportunity to incentivize your team to engage with people in those events. Like, hey, look, I'll give you some time off, some PTO or a bonus, some extra money in your pocket, stick around after hours, eat some dinner, teach some customers how to do an oil change or check their tire pressure, something, simple. And then your customers get a whole bunch out of it every time, not everybody. I mean, some people are just going to hang out, but
I also think part of our mission, right, with this conversational thing that we're doing here is to tell car owners too. When you walk into a shop and you're like, hey, could you just tell me what this is? You're asking someone who has years of experience and training to take a guess at a problem that could lead you to the wrong answer. And so, a lot, it's not that, again, having worked the front desk at a shop, it's like someone comes in, I can't leave the car for diagnosis or anything like that, but can you just tell me what this noise is? And it's like, that's such a dangerous answer because if I'm wrong, you could go down a financial rabbit hole where you're trying to fix it. And it's not that. It could even be a safety rabbit hole where I don't see something that, would really require more than just taking a listen. And so I think that for car owners, right, because we also want to talk to shop customers. And it's like when you call a shop and just ask for that question, you're putting people in a very difficult place where they are actually probably trying to protect you. Now, as you mentioned, Mike, we can get a little cynical because we get those questions every day and it gets to the point where you're like, get out of here. But get out of here, you little scamp. But the, give the shop some leeway to look at the problem if you want an answer to the question, because every car is different, every manufacturer is different, every set of parts is different. So you get these skills that allow you to understand what's happening, but you're not a robot encyclopedia of problems. You got to take a look and you use that skill and experience to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit of education goes a really long way. Like even in those moments where you could just share some good tidbits of information, whether it's, to your point, just any customers watching this that are going to shops, but also shops that are thinking about engaging with their customers in a new and different way. All these, the different ideas for events and whatnot, just a good way to kind of share that experience and that knowledge in a way that builds that trust and reputation. Previous podcasts already talked about reviews and kind of building up that presence. Kind of just lends itself in that direction of like, hey, this is the reputation we're building up locally.
I've had a couple of customers anecdotally bring this up, so I think it's worth sharing. But like a couple of shops that we work with have found social media to be a really successful platform to kind of engage with their customers and prospective customers. Just obviously for like an upfitting shop where you're doing more custom work, it's a little bit more straightforward because it's like before, after, right? Dyno tune or performance exhaust or lift kit or whatever it is that you're doing to it. But even shops that we talk to that do like general maintenance and stuff, like just a quick 30-second clip of like, hey man, they came in for an oil change. It took us 30 minutes to knock it out. Handing the keys back to them now. Happy customer, out the door. It's just, just scrolling across someone's feed randomly, like it's enough. It's enough to engage with people and connect with them and make a difference to their business model.
I think we also live in a time where, I don't know about you guys, but I'm more interested in knowing the people that I'm working with than the brand necessarily. So when I look for a shop, I don't care what the name on the shop is. Like I kind of care about the people I'm going to interact with inside that building. And I think that type of social media, when we look at return on investment, like don't put a lot of time into like producing a video about repairs. But if you get clips about the things you're doing, you start to see the personalities of the people behind the shop. You start to understand how they think and how they work. And those give you, as a potential customer, at least for me, because I make a habit of trying to go to different shops in my city, gives me this little insight like, oh, I'd love to go. These guys seem fun. I would like to go by there and just even if I don't need anything, I'll get my next oil change there just to see what they're like, because I can see the culture is cool, and so I'd like to work with those guys just to see the shop once. Obviously, I'm a little weird. I'm a shop nerd, but I think that kind of stuff, it's such a low barrier of entry to do what you're saying, Mike, of just like take those little clips, as opposed to, again, don't produce videos, but just, hey, it's Big John. I'm working on brakes today. This is an interesting tidbit about, anti-seize. I don't know. The end. It's just a little.
No, I think that totally makes sense. I think you're onto something there, Jonathan. I think people really want to see the people they're working with. I'm gonna pivot us, because I think we've gone down that rabbit trail. But something Zach said a few minutes ago, recapping, was interesting.
The old Gallagher
around partnering, and what else could you bring into the shop? Right, there's shop environment, but then there's also this question of like, how do you make it an experience, which is part of what I think you're getting at there, Jonathan. So I think it dovetails, but I think this is a different rabbit trail, but I think there's also places where shops could partner with other businesses in their immediate area. So for example, right, one of the first shops I worked at, we didn't really have a big enough a tiny waiting room. It was like a phone booth. So no coffee setup, but we could go down to the coffee shop down the street, buy a bunch of $5 gift cards. Now, if I've got someone waiting, it's like, hey, if you want to go grab some coffee while you're waiting, I give them $5, get them coffee. It's great for us. It was pretty cheap. It's good for the coffee shop, right? Then they know, like, hey, this shop's pretty cool. We're working with them. Send them a car if someone comes through. I've even seen.
If you bought me a cup of coffee and I brought my car in for service, I would never go anywhere else for the rest of my life.
I love that idea. I really do.
Super simple, right?
I would live in your shop.
I almost want to say that is way more impactful than even getting a Keurig and buying a bunch of pods for it. Like the interaction.
Because who does have AC? The cafe down the street.
Yeah, and
we got you a $5 gift card. Go hang out there.
Yes, and thank you. Yeah, it is. Wow, that is fantastic. I love that.
And I just to cap that off, I saw another shop that had they actually put a coffee shop in the building. Now this would be more purpose built, right? Most shops probably aren't going to dedicate a bay to this, but they had like their wife was passionate about it or something like that, so their wife ran the coffee shop that was attached. Or I think I saw one where there was a hair salon attached. You could drop your car for the oil change, go get your haircut, come back. So there are some really creative ways you could look at, especially if you had the space for it. That's not going to be everybody, but how could we utilize what we have or who's in the area?
That is an interesting concept, though, of you capitalizing on your space, creativity wise. Like, okay, you're just getting started. You got 2 bays. You're not full. Well, what could we do? Okay, bet you there's a guy in the neighborhood that has a coffee cart that might come X days a week and draw.
Or even like what kind of space you got in front of your shop. I have definitely been falling around a food truck and going to a business that just because I'm like, I want that Berea truck right now. And I'm like, oh, look at this place. Like, there's plenty of, and especially like the sharing of the social media between that, so that you have multiple audiences, and even just having that name recognition of being able to, when someone's in a bind and they're thinking about like, oh shoot, what am I going to do? Oh, remember when I went to that food truck, there was that shop right there, right? Just even some of those little connections can be really beneficial. And oftentimes the food trucks, if you got a decent location, right, where there's some foot traffic, they're not going to charge you to park in front. They want to park in front of your spot. They need a place to go. So I feel like that's an easy way to offer a service, even without necessarily needing to have a lot of skin in the game.
I love that you brought that up. We actually have a salvage yard by us that to draw business throughout the mornings and whatnot. They have a full-time breakfast food truck that won like multiple awards in the area for the breakfast food that they pump out. But in return, I have walked into that salvage yard multiple times for no reason and paid an entrance fee just to go look around while I waited for my food. So
that'd be the best Saturday adventure, man. Just grab a breakfast burrito and just go junking for some cars.
Mike, I'll call you on Saturday.
I'm so jealous right now. I've never been so fired up
on this podcast. I'm ready.
Oh my God. I have the worst FOMO of my entire life. I want to walk out of my room right now. I think I'm gonna do a classic Gallagher pivot here and talk about another topic. You mentioned like Uber rides, so I think it goes back to thinking creatively, which Zach, I just love the concept of this episode being like creatively speaking. If you were to do something interesting, right? It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be small, it doesn't have to be that impactful, but what could you think differently to use what you got? So I used to, people do want to drop off and go back to work, and, providing a loaner is not something that most independents can do, but it's so easy to call Lyft. And I would just add that line item to my shop tickets. But the fact that I did the work of calling the Lyft and setting it up where to go and all that stuff was enough that my customers were super happy. I knew as they were coming in and kind of dropping off with the tax, I knew, okay, I'm going to set up that pickup right now. That way, as soon as they were kind of wrapping up, the car was already there waiting for them, took them to work. And then I'd even every business is a little different. I had some customers that were big enough that I would schedule their ride back, but still, I still charged for that. So I wasn't coming out of pocket anything. That was part of my time. Really good idea. I'd recommend it.
And if I'm not mistaken, Marty, I think they have like Lyft and Uber business profiles now, right? You just set that up, and I think they've expanded on it now. But now you can sign up and actually have like a business account potentially.
Yeah, you can. I have even for me at Shopmonkey, I have a personal Lyft account, and there's a little toggle that I have for business. It goes to charges a different card. So when I'm traveling for work, those rides are work rides. When I travel on my own, using that Apple Pay, getting that 2% back, baby.
Yeah, but
another one in that same vein is with Turo, right? You can be a pickup and drop off location for different Turo cars if you got the space out in front of your shop.
Yeah,
easy opportunity to connect with the Turo
and gosh,
drivers.
If I was dropping off my Turos with you, I might need a service after some goober rented my car.
Exactly.
That's genius, Zach.
yeah, that's really good, man.
The heat, man.
I
just gives me
have
good
one
ideas.
last Gallagher pivot though.
Okay, the old Gallagher pivot.
The old pivot.
How did I get credited for this?
I don't know.
The old give it.
One that I heard in the last year that I thought was really interesting was local partnerships with the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts for the different badges, which I would have never thought about. I didn't realize the Boy Scouts had a auto maintenance badge that they can get, and so like partnered shops would have hosts for the parents and the kids to come in and learn more about the industry. Now, sure, that's probably a little more of a time, little bit more time intrusive in terms of like trying to really put out the time and sign up for the programs and whatnot. Pretty interesting though to get involved in that way and get the kids kind of interested in what shops are doing today.
I'd be like, all right, you guys are sweeping today. Here's your badges.
And if you're a small town, dude, get in those like small town 4th of July parades. Put a cool car going down there. Just get your name out there. Shake some hands. Like people, like kind of like.
This is another one where if I was being creative, I love the idea, Zach. I'm just spitballing with you. I thrive on your enthusiasm. I'd call all my vendors and be like, give me some parts that I can put on the back of a flatbed and drive through the parade with, and be like, look at these, Akebono
Look at
brakes.
these serpentine belts.
Yeah. Look at these Continental belts, baby.
I was really hoping you were going to go with wheels or something.
No,
He said brake pads.
Are you all using liquid
Who's
moly?
looking for an
It's
EGR
great.
valve? Good. Got a whole float full of them. Yeah, one of my favorite marketing campaigns that I've seen for a shop, though, I'll give it back to you, Gallagher, I promise. One of my favorite marketing campaigns I've seen, though, is they took a picture of their actual like master mechanic, like their whole team, and they like basically made that the ad, where it's like, come see my mechanic. This is the person that's working on your car, really effectively putting a face to who's actually fixing your vehicle.
I was going to pivot back to what you said, Lucas, about the Boy Scout badges, right? And the ever need to be, and we've talked about this before on the show, but the ever need to be recruiting, right? And like looking for where's the new stream of talent. Look, I mean, like if you get a Boy Scout in there, like, and that's actually happened in my last shop. My last shop's boss was a scout leader, and he'd bring a Boy Scout in and have him apprentice for a day. And it's a great way to get someone interested when they're 12, 13,
getting
14.
years ahead of the problem. That is smart.
Yeah, but dude, but he farmed plant those seeds, and then 4 or 5 years down the road, the kid went to tech school, and then he's coming in the shop, and you're like, dude, it works, right? And you have to take that long view.
Yeah.
Plus it builds customer base and sort of a connection to the shop early too.
I would have done anything as a younger person to have had someone bring me in as like an apprentice or something. Never had the opportunity, Never lived anywhere where any shops were anywhere close to me, but man, I would have loved it.
And that actually got me thinking. Thanks, Gallagher. You reminded me though that recently I also saw an article. I don't remember where this was, but they were starting up a summer camp, and I ran into some parents locally recently that were like, "Oh yeah, summer camp, like everything's full or it was expensive, whatever the case was." And I had just seen an article stating that a shop had offered to do summer camp for certain hours. I guess
sweeping for 8 hours a day.
But taking in a fee to host this camp with, extra staff and whatnot. And it was like, that's an interesting idea. I don't know what the age range was or who was allowed to join, but
I am very interested in the insurance dynamics of hosting a camp. Word on the street is it's getting harder and harder to insure shops, at least here in California. I know a lot of shop owners in my area are struggling with that right now. Leave in the comments.
I don't think it was in the shop.
If you had some good experiences with shop specific insurance, leave it in the comments so we could spread the word.
No, the great point. All of these suggestions and ideas 100% have to be run through the right channels and make sure that it's applicable and possible. But yeah, it was just one of those interesting ones where this shop had decided to do it. They charged a fee for it, and it was a 2-week program, but it was all automotive based, and I don't believe it was in the shop, but it was just kind of automotive basics and having them kind of learn everything, to Gallagher's point, planting that seed of hey, this is what it means to be in this industry.
We got some good ideas, right? There's partnerships, like talk to your vendors. How could you use the people you buy from to help promote your shop, right? Maybe doing hangout sessions where you teach people about the parts that you use from your vendors and they send you reps or resources to help do that. Getting people to and from the shop if they don't want to hang, making the shop a better place to hang, investing in, the next generation, literally the next generation of labor. And adding food or coffee to the mix. What else do we got? I think those are all some pretty creative ideas. And I like them too, because car shows, I don't know. I feel like, Zach, you kind of mentioned at the beginning, especially if you're a newer shop, I feel like these are all low dollar investments to start building buzz around your location.
Yeah, I really like that social media one. Just like a 30-second clip, just be personable. Tell people what you're doing. Show them that you're a real human being. Like, that's easy. Doesn't cost you anything. And huge impact.
I'm literally trying to find the channel because there's a new channel I just started following, and all they just do a series called like customer states where they talk about why a customer brought in a car and what they're looking at, and it's so cool because it's very low. It's just, this is a car. It was brought in for this reason. This is what we think about that, and then 2 seconds. I feel bad. I'm not going to be able to find.
I'll just say it.
Don't worry.
Just if you guys could quietly stare at the screen. Oh boy, I'm for sure not going to find it now.
So, as we're winding down, any other creative ideas, any Gallagher pivots you guys want to get out before we shut down?
I would like to solicit the crowd. I would like to know what is working for folks out there. Definitely just double down on that. I would love to hear from people on this topic.
Concept 3 Performance. At Concept 3 Performance, and it's Concept I think, not the number 3. They do a really cool series of videos of just like customer states, and they show like their thought process of looking at a vehicle, and the owner gets in there and he talks about, oh yeah, I've seen this as an issue and this is how I like to deal with that. And he's like teaching the younger guys at his shop while he's talking about those things. It's so interesting.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, nice. Thanks for the rec, dude.
If anyone knows the best way to torque coilovers that have been rounded out on the top nut, if they could get to me on the comments, because I'm fixing up the 330 and really struggling with these used Bilsteins that I bought. So help your boy out,
Help a brother out. Yeah, please drop some things in the comments. As always, this podcast is brought to you by Shopmonkey, the digital solution for shop management in automotive shops across America. If you're interested in learning more about our product, go to shopmonkey.com. And there's a link to the description, or there's a link in the description if you want to check out more. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear what ideas, like Mike was saying, is really working for you. Maybe something you've thought about and haven't yet implemented. Throw it out there. Let's see if someone else has done it. Be part of the conversation. Help each other out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Help each other out, man. Yeah. Help each
Help
other
each other
out.
out. Come on.
Just be a good
I like
kid.
that. It's a good ending.
Stuff's crazy out there. Help each other out.
Yeah, stuff's crazy. It's hot. Help each other out.